Dan Willis has spent decades researching alternative healing, energy, and propulsion technologies that have been suppressed for well over a century. In this interview, he gives us a historical overview of the key individuals and organizations involved in suppressing natural healing, free energy, and anti-gravity technologies. He shares some of his own personal experiences of how inventors and health pioneers have been targeted and assassinated. Finally, he shares his vision of the future of how all this suppression is about to end, and amazing alternative healing and energy technologies is destined to be released to the world.
You are listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla, your source for the uncensored truth regarding the human, extraterrestrial, global, and political agenda. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And now, here's Dr. Michael Salla.
Well, I want to welcome Dan Willis to Exopolitics Today. Welcome back, Dan.
Michael, great to be with you once again, and a very important subject that I happen to have a bit of a personal firsthand experience with.
Well, I know you've got decades of experience in this field, and I know your background was in electronic communications, and you definitely worked with some of the pioneers in the field of crystal technology, Dr. Marcel Vogel, and a few others that we've talked about in early interviews, Dr. James Schwartz, and of course your involvement with the Dr. Greer's Aero project. But I think also your direct personal experiences and your family background are involved in all of this. I think your great-grandfather was a prominent alternative health practitioner, as I recall.
Yeah, he was the president of the Homeopathic Medical Society back in the time when there was a witch hunt going on to suppress all natural cures and homeopathic medicine in favor of the highly profitable pharmaceutical drugs that are being, to this day, propagated in our somewhat corrupted medical system, you could say.
Yes, I know that there's been a lot of corruption there, and I know you've put a lot of work into creating a detailed chronology of the history of this kind of alternative healing profession, drawing on your research, drawing on your own personal background, and so I thought it'd be great if you could just introduce us to that chronology and give my audience an overview of the suppression of these healing and free energy technologies, so that we are better aware of what's happened, because that's going to give us the information we need to make sure that these technologies are released. That we've talked in the past about 6,000 inventions being held up by these secrecy orders in the US Patent and Trademarks Office. So with this kind of detailed chronology that you've put together, well, I think we are better able to understand what's being suppressed and what needs to be released.
Yes, I highly recommend everyone to see the previous show that you and I did with Dr. Schwartz to get a firsthand testimony of one brilliant inventor who came up with an energy solution and was suppressed by a national security order, of which thousands of these have been, as you mentioned, have been issued to inventors and scientists that have kept our planet technologically suppressed. I just want to preface that this is by no means comprehensive. It's just indicators through history that I've taken note of that lays out a chronology of things that we were not taught in school, of how our current system is the way it is because of the driving forces that happened in the past.
So why don't you bring up that chronology, Dan, and walk us through some of these key points in this kind of forgotten history, and the key players and organizations involved in keeping all of these amazing technologies away from the public arena.
Okay, here we go. This is a brief history of technology suppression, following circumstantial evidence that reveals medical solutions, anti-gravity and zero-point energy technology exists and has been withheld from humanity. People on this planet, some just accept, hey, this is just the way it is. Hey, you try to go to your work in your car, you got to fill it up with gasoline, you've got to pay the power companies, your electric bill. The medical system will extract all the money out of your wallet and not necessarily cure everything. And so you ever wonder why we're still using gasoline to power our vehicles? Why we're still using dangerous and obsolete energy generation technologies such as nuclear, oil, and coal? Nuclear, we have Fukushima, oil, have the oil spills and the pollution, and coal, the pollution in the air. Why we're using primitive rocket propulsion to overcome gravity, which Elon Musk is still using rockets. Why today the average lifespan, according to statistics, 75 years. That's a very short period of time. Why there are no cures for common diseases such as cancer. Why we have not had open contact with extraterrestrial civilizations that are off planet, of which our galaxy is teeming with extraterrestrial races, but we have not had contact as of yet, not on a global scale. So here we go with a little history. In the mid of the 19th century, American Medical Association was founded. This was, as I say, follow the money. The profitable pharmaceutical drugs, the doctors were getting together and they formed this American Medical Association, and they only gave the seal of acceptance to the profitable ones, but they were basically shunning things like homeopathy and natural cures and things like that. So that started the control of our medical system.
Yeah, Dan, I just wanted to kind of like jump in with a kind of little practical example of this. I know at the beginning of spring, I start to suffer allergies. I mean, with the pollens, I have an allergic reaction. I guess that's a hay fever, and of course, there are a lot of pharmaceutical drugs out there for hay fever. I've never taken them, but I know people do take these pharmaceutical products, and it's very profitable. And of course, for those that I remember going through many winters where, or many springs, or when I lived in the in the Northeast and in Hawaii, where I would have to kind of like grin and bear it until the pollen stopped being out there. But my wife, Angelica, she just said, look, just eat the local honey. Just eat the local honey. Just have a spoonful of the local honey every morning or in the evenings, and it'll cure you. And sure enough, the allergy went away, and I wasn't suffering the burning eyes and the kind of like all of the allergic reactions from all the pollen in the early spring. So I think that's a kind of good example of how something natural like honey, local honey, just consuming that can kind of like protect you and like deal with things like hay fever and a lot of pollen in the air, as opposed to spending a lot of money in these pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, it's so true. You can't make a lot of money selling honey. And before all of this control of the medical system happened, they were quite successful. With the native Indians had remedies, and there was remedies that were passed down through generations that were very successful. But all of that was swept under the rug with the Rockefeller Foundation teaming up with.
I'd really like to show you the rest of this video, but YouTube's terms of service really makes it very risky for me to be able to show you things that might violate their censorship guidelines, which are pretty hard to fathom. And so just out of prudence, I'm going to direct you to my Rumble channel or BitChute or Brighteon channels to see the full, unrestricted, uncensored version of this. And so if you haven't already done so, then I recommend that you join, you subscribe to my Rumble channel, which really you can use that to see all of my videos in an uncensored environment. So thank you for your support, and just head over to Rumble now. Thank you and aloha.